Hi, guys. I want to take a look at, well, who else? Putin. And I just did some readings off camera, and I feel like I'm being shown something significant, and that is him losing moral support of the people that he's had due to they're just wanting this war to be over. Both decks, I used Oracle of the Rose and just my regular um, Rider-Waite deck, and both are telling me the same message: is that he's going to really fall out of favor. I had seen this prior, like the babushkas and stuff that really uh, that had loved him so much. I think are really going to have a shift, and I see that coming. And I was given, I think, summer and winter as key times. So to be watching, especially this summer, I think for is highlighted. And growing unrest and a loss of confidence in him. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and continue with what I had here. So what I see is for Putin, you know, he's feeling at the moment like it's back to the good old days, or I think he's got with Trump uh, a burst of confidence. And I think there's council coming to talk about what they've taken over, the land. And I know that that he's getting reports and things like that, but I see counsel with that, and I see him feeling Putin like he's on top of the world for the moment. He's a bit of like yes feeling. Then we have the Eight of Wands, but here comes this growing opening up of sentiment and an opening up of heartfelt feelings. Well, we know that his heart is probably steeled shut at this point. But this, to me, is going to be of the people. Just in general, I think there's an uprising of feeling, a dramatic outpouring of feeling about this war, and because innocent people, yeah. And here is the painful ending, and just wanting a new day to start. This has been terrible experience, wanting it to end and start a new cycle. So these two together also, it just really helped me feel that there's going to be an outpouring from the populace that he's not seen before. I think that might surprise him, that they don't, that he's got to finish this. Now, they've already been doing it, but not on the level I think that's coming. There's a tower, something that he doesn't anticipate, which is a collapse. And maybe if Trump has something going on here, it ripples out and affects him. I don't know. Let's see what comes with that part. A collapse in his own homeland, perhaps. He gets the tower and connected to the motherland, in my opinion, and his locale, his Russia. So I've got a cute little kitty here with me. Not so little, but very, very cute. Hi, bear. Um, and there's fighting and there's disagreement. Sorry, that's my stomach. There's fighting the devil, fighting, I think, oppression, fighting, I think, people standing up to him. He's not used to that. It's not going to be just instantly diffused. There's resistance. Now, Bear, we can't hang on a second. Let me just put this on pause. Okay, so we have unanticipated shift, collapse within one's own territory. And possibly it could also be even something like a natural disaster or person, especially lack of infrastructure being kept up because they're so corrupt there. They have a lot of problems like that. It's hard to say, but something's coming. Stop that. That's enough. You've had enough treats. And it's going to cause people to resist oppression in his homeland. So that pulls him back. And this is him, King of Swords, and trying to act like everything's great, you know, pretending this overplaying his hand or grandizing, aggrandizing things. That's such a word. You know, he's saying it's, and I got that earlier too, people realizing that a lot of what he says isn't so. You know, he's saying things are great when they end up not being great. And they're going to start, you know, realizing more of that. There is instability that he's going to face, I think, and Trump as well, both at home in America and within Russia. And there's going to be exposure. I think also of meddling in things. I think this is also his grasp is starting to really fail. Then, as a result of this shift, I expect that this would be, and I felt when I looked at this, like people out in the streets fighting, or not, or probably resisting the police, you know, from being taken. There's a confrontation of evil that's coming, and the light will reveal a lack of security, a lack of big. It's really intense, very intense situation. I think the people wanting maybe even to overthrow him, get rid of him. It's coming. There's a King of Cups, and he's got a secret. Now, I don't know, is this Biden? I don't necessarily think so. This could be somebody over in Russia that is perhaps in on something clandestine. Because that feels like there's something that's quiet, something that's hidden. And it could be somebody, you know, that's a dissenter from within that is trying to go about things in a secretive manner. Maybe we have to me, this is Mother Russia, Queen of Pentacles, and not doing well with the Five of Pentacles, and more people not doing well in mind or body, and financially, most assured is a problem. There's issues. It's deficient. A fall in what would you call that, in the living conditions. That's what I really feel when I was looking there too. That phrase came to me, was like there's something about also like the domestic conditions in people's homes into which that they're living now that is declining, you know. Here we have the traitor. We have the Three of Swords, also possible illness. There's a plan. This could, to me, this is with the cards here before, quite possibly that there is a plan in place, because they feel that he's betrayed Russia, lied to them, and done so over a long period of time and caused them a lot of grief, and to be isolated from the rest of the world because there is a sense of separation with the Three of Swords as well. And there is anxiety. I think this could be not only the people that he's caused to lose sleep and be paranoid, but I think his paranoia is going to increase. And there is a detachment from reality. I get him becoming more clearly to perhaps more Russians that he's just delusional. That wouldn't have normally said that, but I feel like there's enough people that are going to be so fed up. And here's the people. There's also a lot of money. This is the rest of the world also potentially. And yeah, waiting, watching. So I think this shows a sentiment of wanting to be involved in the rest of the world economy so that they can increase, just to have a decent, nothing fancy standard of living. And I think that is what is going to, in this war, they're going to realize a lot of innocent young men were forced to go, and they weren't outfitted or cared well, and the family's not receiving money, and so on and so forth. And that they shouldn't be over there. So there is action. And I believe he's going to try to fend it off, but I think it's his last stand. And I think they're just going to wait for when he's particularly weak. There's a moment, then I get an agreement, and maybe he's seeking help, but we get judgment for. I get the people holding him to account for his smugness or his lies, and again, his exaggeration to them really stands out. It's who he's aligned with and agreed with as well, like Trump, that's in the spotlight. It's who and how he's connected. And I think there's perhaps also saying they're in trouble as well. They're in the spotlight. Both. Because both have exaggerated and project and put out propaganda, lie, say things are better than they are, outright lie about that. It's just, and we're looking at Putin, so we're getting the chariot, and for him, there is a burden to move forward. It becomes onerous, difficult for him to get now to the goal he wanted, to succeed, to win. So to me, there's something that's coming that's going to interrupt him from claiming the prize, with Ukraine. And is that because something in the summertime as well could go off with Trump and it kind of pulls him in and things start to shift as well back home? The energies for both where they lose key support just enough, perhaps, of people growing as a citizenship in dissent and just losing that it's like people waking up and wanting gone. Basically, yeah. Let's see what else. Okay. We get the King of Pentacles and the Ace of Pentacles. I feel like this is again going to trying to make agreements where finances and stuff are concerned, trying to perhaps grow the economy. Other people want to step in. And I think women as well that have been, I think, pretty subservient all their lives are going to, the mothers especially, and the aunties and the grandmothers, all these women. And they've said if you get the wrath of the babushkas, you're in trouble, man. And I think he's going to get it. That he didn't do something. He didn't bring peace. He didn't bring peace or healing. There is someone new or somebody offering some proposal here and trying to celebrate, or maybe it's some sort of a celebration that is going to be coming. Maybe around June. I mean, maybe his birthday. Because he's also, no, Trump's June, but he's a Libra. Hmm. Well, it could be also at his birthday too, October. There could be something. But I'm thinking summer as well. There's some kind of loss. He's, that I think it's the loss, like I said, of the the not just the respect, but of real serious uh wanting him gone to this point that he's, lost that hold of people wanting him to be there. So, but it's loss that he's manipulated. I just feel like, again, more people in his own country are going to see him for what he really is. And there's going to kind of, I think, going to be a light that falls on both Putin and Trump, leaks and things like that, things they don't expect and none of us expect. Now, with the other deck, what I got was that for Putin, there's beginnings, something new that's starting, right? And people that feel among those that feel close to each other, kindred. So to me, it could be a beginning with family, friends, loved ones, people that feel closely connected, like soulmates. There's a growing strength here, and there's organization that's secret with the priestess, and they are resistant. They resist Putin. They feel like this is a new movement. There's a celebration. Again, some kind of celebration highlighted here. And tick-tock. That means it's coming. It's on the timeline and it's coming. Some kind of either it's a holiday or I don't know. is this something that he would go to celebrate? Who knows? They like these parades, you know. And we get the representation of winter. And this just feels cold and like an end. And this could be like trying to get the also wanting him to end the war sooner, you know, before winter. That that could be something that these people are trying to do that are going to be resisting him. And there's a balancing act. There's a very that they have to. I think there's a push to end the war before winter because a lot of these people don't want their loved ones um, being away one more winter. But this summer, I think the rumblings of that could intensify before winter. There's the tower. This is the tower in the sense of like the tarot. This is destruction. This is unanticipated event of collapse, loss of power, and connected to a lack of sense of reality, connected to things that are delusional or beliefs that are delusional. So people could, you know, lose their long delusional beliefs that they've put in some of these people, or they might just wake up enough. It feels to me like kind of the scales fall off the eyes a little bit through some sort of really significant jarring event. Um, and it deals with deception and delusion and the breaking down of lies. It's like a divine um well, that's really not right, but it's like from what people have done, so then comes you know, a set of things in motion. This is what is coming, which is the crumbling of his power and his hold on people. And there's communication highlighted with a Queen of Fire. And to me, this is like through social media and any kind of electronic device, uh, especially communicating things, you know, even satellite telephone. They're sharing knowledge. And from solitude, the more people that are, I think that's showing that people are becoming more unified within Russia to resist him. And this is a new journey. And like it's had in the beginning, we have this journey that they're on. This is part of, I think, also their life's work to resist. And that becomes clear to them with the sun. And they also don't want any more lies and deception. They're tired of being lied to. Yeah, an uprising, an emerging shift of opinion and sentiment with regard to him, I feel like, and especially because of the men sent to war as well. Here's the emperor. To me, this would be Putin. And that he's just spinning his wheels with the carousel. He's getting nowhere fast. He's putting them in difficult positions that they don't really get out of. They just spin like a carousel. It also makes me feel like him with the carousel is that he's just a bunch of words that to them now it's going to be a lack of trust. I'll see, you know, when I see it, I'll believe it from you because you just put on a carousel, you know, you put on a show. You don't really do anything. It's a song and dance. It's a deception. So there's going to be people having that willingness to take a leap of faith, I think, and resist and work together from within, I think, Russia, and probably from without elsewhere to resist him, to bring him down. The rose-colored glasses connected to that hold over people, that he can tell them anything and make them believe that things are better than they really are. Your lion eyes, um, the ability to influence people this way and make them believe that, I think, is falling apart finally. And there are people organizing. We need to pay attention. It says listen, because they are paying more attention to what they see and hear from him and what's going on, perhaps than they had before, because now many of their children and grandchildren and uh, family members have been affected by this war, if not dead. They have had heavy losses. So listen, and it says intuition. They're following their intuition now more. And I think also knowing that now is the time perhaps to dissent. We get the summer card that I talked about. So look for this dissent to rise in summertime. Yeah, full moon. There's going to be things will be ripe. Conditions will be uh, really coming into place for sentiment to this unhappiness and dissent to grow within Russia. We get grounded and masquerade. So I think his little masquerade, this game he's played where he tells them how great it is over. Really, finally, I think maybe over. And they're looking for the truth with Lighthouse. They are looking for, like, no, I need someone to tell me the real truth. Something that is a fact, is more or less set in stone that you can count on, not your fantasies and what you want to tell me is the way it is. And home, this is their homeland and their homes, their home lives. As I said, their quality of living's gone down. And I think Cupid, home and Cupid, innocent families, uh, people wanting to be married and just live a normal life, perhaps, and that they're not able to do that at the end. Also wanting to bring an end to this war, and I think an end to Putin, frankly, and an end with innocent lives being lost because they know that he doesn't tell, more of them are going to understand he does not tell them the truth about why they're going and dying. It's, changed. And so there's decisions and that have to be made. And I feel like women are, again, a big influence in this movement, or it will grow and become more and more abundant uh, to make a decision to take resilient action and protest and so forth. Get a Queen of Hearts, women again, and faith. I think women that are perhaps even devout in some way, but who are resisting. And maybe just devout in their faith that he's wrong and is dangerous and not been telling them the truth and put their families, you know, in despair. We have the wisdom of the older people coming through to free yourself. So again, I get that sense of, he's the people really don't support him there. And I mean, more than what we've seen before. This is going to be a different animal. Release. So we get free yourself, release, wisdom. With wisdom, people are becoming more aware and they're freeing themselves from believing his nonsense and lies. and they're releasing themselves from that disconnection from reality. I think they're going to see him as being more disconnected and having kept them in the dark with the dark moon. And there's uncertainty, but in their dark, they also get the light of epiphany. Something is going to, I think, through their suffering with him, is finally going to give way. They're going to become aware again that gentleness is where they want to focus, peace. They are tired of war. They feel like there was trickery involved to do with boundaries, Ukraine and what was theirs, and all this argument and who Ukraine are and what they're doing. And they feel like they were lied to about it. More of them will realize that. About the invasion, set sail, and that this was a selfish self-love, in this case, disordered self-love, uh, choice, that they invaded not because of any real threat or need, but because of his whims. I think then they're going to start to realize that behind everything Putin does, look beneath the surface. It's not what he says it is. Dig deeper. There's a rabbit hole. It's full of holes and full of lies. And he doesn't have integrity and storm and remember. So people are going to remember this, and they're angry. They're not going to let it go so easily. There's an anger that's going to arise, quite possibly within his own populace, and a mixed variety of ages, but mostly women. So that's or inspired by. So I'm going to leave that there, and I will see you for the live tomorrow at 3 p.m. Pacific time, and I can take your personal and political questions. Bye.